Your luck hides inside your habits. Inspired by Atomic Habits. Welcome back, my friend. If you're here, it's because something inside you believes there's more to life than where you are right now. Not because you aren't grateful, not because you haven't tried, but because you know, deep down, that growth is possible, that something better is possible. You've probably seen it around you. Some people seem to move forward with ease, building successful careers, healthy bodies, fulfilling relationships, while others, working just as hard, stay stuck in the same patterns year after year. We often tell ourselves it must be talent, or privilege, or luck. But what if it's something else, something far quieter, far more powerful? Habits. Today, inspired by Atomic Habits by James Clear, we're not just talking about routines or productivity hacks. We're talking about the small, almost invisible choices that quietly shape the entire course of your life. Because habits aren't just tasks. They're not just brushing your teeth, making your bed, or sipping your morning coffee. They are votes for the kind of person you're becoming. Every time you show up for yourself, no matter how small the action, you're telling your future self, I care about my health. I follow through on my promises. I am growing. And when you stack these tiny votes, day after day, month after month, year after year, you start to build something extraordinary. You start to create what others might call luck. But in reality, it's simply preparation meeting opportunity. Most people wait for big, dramatic change, the promotion, the breakthrough, the miracle. But real transformation lives in the 1% improvements, the extra page you read, the short workout you finish, the one better choice you make today. If you get 1% better each day, by the end of the year, you'll be 37 times better than where you started. But if you neglect those 1% choices, the decline compounds just as quietly. Your habits are not just behaviors. They are the architects of your future. That's why I created this space. A place where we don't chase overnight success. A place where we understand that real growth is slow, but steady. Where we support each other, one small step at a time. So today, I don't just want you to listen. I want you to reflect. What tiny habit can you start today that your future self will look back on with gratitude? And if this message resonates with you, if you're looking for a space where you're not alone on your journey, where we grow together, I invite you to subscribe. Because this isn't just a channel. It's a long-term journey. And I would love to walk it with you. Let's begin. Are you better than you were last year? Pause for a moment. Not just a quick glance, but a real, honest pause. Look at your life. Not the busy schedule, not the endless tasks, but the quiet space beneath it all. Are you growing? Or have the days started to blend together, each one looking a lot like the last, while your dreams sit quietly in the distance, waiting? It's a question that many of us avoid, not because we don't care, but because we do. Because we hope that one day something big will happen. The promotion will come. The opportunity will arrive. The breakthrough will suddenly shift everything. And that hope, for instant success, for overnight change, is what keeps so many people stuck. We wait for the dramatic moment, the magical turning point that will change our entire trajectory. And while we wait, we overlook the small, quiet choices right in front of us. The ones that seem too tiny to matter. The ones that whisper, does this one workout really make a difference? Will reading a few pages today actually change anything? Is one healthy meal enough to impact my future? But here's the truth, one that's both humbling and empowering. Success rarely comes from one big moment. It doesn't arrive like a lightning strike. It builds quietly through the compound effect of tiny actions repeated again and again. Every time you choose progress, no matter how small, you're adding a brick to the foundation of your future. And though one brick may seem insignificant, over time, they create something unshakable. James Clear, in Atomic Habits, introduces a beautiful concept: identity-based habits. Instead of focusing on what you want to achieve, focus on who you want to become. Because when you anchor your actions to your identity, everything shifts. Anyone can force themselves to start a habit for a few days using willpower. You wake up motivated. You feel inspired. But willpower fades. Motivation wavers. And when they do, most people slip back into old patterns. But identity? Identity sticks. When you begin to see yourself as a certain kind of person, your habits naturally follow. If you believe you are a healthy person, making healthy choices feels natural. If you see yourself as a disciplined person, staying consistent becomes part of who you are. If you view yourself as a lifelong learner, reading daily no longer feels like a chore. It feels like alignment. This is why real change isn't about chasing goals. It's about shifting your identity. Every small action is a vote for the person you're becoming. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to get it right every time. You just need to keep casting votes in the right direction. And slowly, quietly, your identity changes. Your habits solidify. Your progress compounds. So the question, "Are you better than you were last year?" isn't about grand achievements. It's about small, consistent growth. It's about becoming someone who shows up for themselves, even when no one's watching. Someone who values growth, not perfection. Someone who understands that real success isn't built in a day. It's built daily. If you take one small step today, one tiny improvement, you're already moving forward. And if you keep showing up day after day, those small steps will carry you further than any giant leap ever could. Who do you want to become? Pause for a moment and really sit with that question. Not, what do you want to achieve? Not, what goals are on your list? But deeper than that, who do you want to become? Because at the heart of every habit, every routine, every small action is an identity you are shaping. If you want to build a writing habit, don't just say, "I want to write more." Say, "I am a writer." If you want to run regularly, don't just say, "I want to exercise more." Say, "I am an athlete." When your identity shifts, your behavior starts to align naturally. You no longer need to constantly push yourself with sheer willpower. You act in ways that match who you believe you are. Every action becomes a vote, a small confirmation of that identity. And the beauty is, the more you act in alignment with your chosen identity, the stronger that identity becomes. It creates a self-reinforcing cycle. You write a little. You feel more like a writer, so you write again. You go for a short run. You feel like an athlete, so you run again. Bit by bit, your identity becomes stronger, clearer, and more natural. What once felt like effort becomes a reflection of who you are. But here's where many people get frustrated. Small habits feel discouraging at first. You start showing up, but you don't see immediate results. You go to the gym for a week, and nothing seems to change. You read daily for a month, but your knowledge feels the same. You save a small amount of money, and your bank account barely moves. That early flat line makes you wonder, is this even worth it? Am I wasting my time? James Clear calls this place the Valley of Disappointment. And it's where many people give up, because we expect progress to be linear. I take action, I see results. But real growth rarely works that way. Imagine planting a bamboo seed. For years, you water it, care for it, and nothing happens. You see no shoots, no leaves, just bare soil. It feels like failure. But beneath the surface, something remarkable is happening. The bamboo is growing strong, deep roots. It's laying the foundation, silently preparing. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, one day it bursts through the ground. In just weeks, it shoots up several feet. People see the sudden growth and call it a miracle. But you know, it wasn't sudden. It was years in the making. Your small habits work the same way. The first weeks, months, even years may feel slow, invisible, unrewarding. But beneath the surface, you're building systems. You're rewiring your brain. You're strengthening your identity. And then, one day, you break through. The skills you've been quietly developing show up. The discipline you've built becomes unshakable. The confidence you've grown becomes natural. And from the outside, it might look like an overnight success. But you'll know, it was the power of tiny habits, quietly compounding over time. So when you feel stuck, when progress feels invisible, remember the bamboo. Stay patient. Stay consistent. Keep casting votes for the person you want to become. Because in the end, it's not just about achieving goals. It's about becoming someone who lives those goals every day. The 1% rule. Sometimes, when we think about change, we imagine huge, dramatic shifts. We believe that to change our lives, we need to take massive action, start a strict diet, run a marathon, build a business overnight, change careers in a flash. But more often than not, real change is much quieter. It's far less dramatic, far less glamorous, and yet far more powerful. James Clear introduces a simple but life-changing idea in Atomic Habits: the 1% rule. What if, instead of trying to overhaul everything at once, you simply focused on getting just 1% better each day? One tiny improvement, barely noticeable in the moment. So small that it might even feel like it doesn't matter. But here's where the magic happens. If you commit to improving by just 1% each day, a tiny step forward, by the end of 1 year, you won't simply be a little bit better. You'll be 37 times better than where you started. Think about that for a moment. Not 37% better, 37 times better. That's the power of compounding. Just like compound interest grows your money over time, tiny habits grow your skills, your mindset, your confidence, your life. Small changes don't stay small. They build upon each other, creating momentum that becomes unstoppable. But there's another side to this rule, one we often forget. If you let yourself slip just 1% each day, skipping the workout, procrastinating a little more, making slightly worse choices, those tiny declines also compound. And after a year of 1% worse each day, your progress doesn't just stall, it shrinks. It slides towards zero. That's why habits feel so tricky, because small improvements and small declines don't feel urgent. They don't sound like a big deal. Skipping one workout feels harmless. Eating one unhealthy meal seems insignificant. Putting off a project for one more day feels like nothing. But it's never just one day. It's the pattern, the repeated vote you cast for who you're becoming. And most of the time, we don't realize we're falling behind or pulling ahead until much later, because the results of tiny choices take time to reveal themselves. At first, nothing seems to change. You might feel like you're putting in the effort for nothing. This is where many people give up. But if you stay consistent, something amazing begins to happen. The improvements start to stack. slowly at first, then faster. Then one day, you look back and realize just how far you've come. That 5-minute walk every morning? It turned into daily runs. That single healthy meal? It became a lifestyle change. That small daily habit of reading? It transformed into deep expertise. Tiny steps, taken consistently, create giant leaps over time. That's the secret behind the 1% rule. It's not about being perfect. It's not about massive willpower. It's about small, deliberate actions repeated every single day. And here's the most inspiring part. You can start right now. You don't need to wait for Monday. You don't need the perfect plan. You just need one small step today. One better choice. One tiny improvement. Because when you commit to the 1% rule, you're not just changing your habits, you're reshaping your future. Success isn't built overnight. It's built 1% at a time. The problem with goal obsession and the power of tiny habits. Let's be honest. Most of us have spent years chasing goals. We tie our happiness to achievements just out of reach. I'll be happy when I lose 10 pounds. I'll be happy when I get promoted. I'll be happy when I finally finish that book, build that business, or hit that number in my bank account. We imagine that once we finally arrive at these milestones, we'll feel fulfilled, accomplished, complete. But what often happens? We reach the goal. We celebrate for a moment. And then we move the finish line. A new goal replaces the old one. The satisfaction is brief. And we find ourselves chasing the next thing. And the next, always looking forward, but never fully arriving. This is the trap of goal obsession. When our motivation depends solely on reaching outcomes, we risk building a fragile kind of drive. One that easily fades once the finish line is crossed. And worst of all, when the goals disappear, the habits that brought us there often crumble too. The fire burns out. We slip back into old patterns. We lose momentum. That's why James Clear offers us a better way. Focus on systems, not just goals. A goal is about results. Losing weight, writing a book, making money. A system is about the process. The daily actions that quietly build those results. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. When you fall in love with the process, the daily writing, the workouts, the studying, the tiny choices, success becomes inevitable. But more importantly, you stay fulfilled and motivated along the way. You're no longer waiting for happiness in some distant future. You're living it every day, inside your daily practice. The science behind habits, the 4-step loop. So how do habits actually form? James Clear breaks it down into a simple, powerful 4-step loop. 1. Cue, trigger, something catches your attention. 2. Craving, the desire it sparks in you. 3. Response, the action you take. 4. Reward, the satisfaction you feel afterward. This loop operates in almost everything you do. For example, you hear your phone buzz, cue. You feel curious. Who messaged me? Craving. You pick up the phone and check your message. Response. You feel connected or relieved. Reward. The brain loves this loop. The reward reinforces the behavior, making you more likely to repeat it next time. The scary part? Bad habits form the same way. You promise yourself, tonight, I'll read 20 pages. But then you sit on the couch, feel the comfort of the soft cushions, see your phone within reach, and before you know it, you've spent hours scrolling through random videos. This isn't laziness. It's your brain simply following well-established habit loops. The good news? Once you understand this cycle, you gain the power to break bad habits and build better ones. How to build better habits? The 4 Laws of Behavior Change. James Clear offers 4 practical steps to rewire your habits. Step 1. Make it obvious. Master the cue. We are visual creatures. Almost 90% of our sensory input comes from sight. If you want to read more, don't hide your books on a dusty shelf. Place them where you'll see them. On your pillow, on your coffee table, on your desk. When your environment nudges you, the habit feels more natural. Step 2. Make it attractive. Craving. We're drawn to what we enjoy. Pair your new habit with something pleasurable. If you love coffee, make reading part of your morning coffee ritual. Eventually, your brain starts to crave both together. The coffee signals reading time. Step 3. Make it easy. Response. Friction kills momentum. Want to exercise more? Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Want to eat healthier? Prep your meals in advance. The fewer steps it takes to start, the more likely you are to follow through. Step 4. Make it satisfying. Reward. We repeat what feels good. Even tiny rewards, like checking off a habit tracker, celebrating a streak, or giving yourself a small treat, reinforce the behavior. Over time, your brain associates the habit with satisfaction, making it stick. The danger of labels. Be careful what you call yourself. There's another invisible force that shapes our habits: identity. Often, we apply labels to ourselves or others, sometimes without even realizing it. A parent says, "You're so lazy, you never study." Over time, the child internalizes this label and starts living it out. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But identity works both ways. Instead of labeling people by their weaknesses, we can encourage new identities. You're curious, you're disciplined, you're improving. These subtle shifts have profound effects because behavior follows identity. Before changing your behavior, ask, who do I want to become? What does a healthy person do today? What would a disciplined writer do right now? How would a strong leader handle this moment? Each time you act in alignment with your chosen identity, you cast a vote for becoming that person. No single action transforms you overnight, but votes add up. And slowly, your identity solidifies. Consistency over intensity, perfection isn't the goal. You don't need to hit your habit 100% of the time. You just need consistency. Missing a day won't ruin your progress. Missing 2 days starts a new habit, the habit of skipping. James Clear offers a simple rule: never miss twice. If you slip once, forgive yourself and show up the next day. Because consistency compounds, while avoidance compounds too, in the wrong direction. Luck isn't magic. It's hidden in your habits. So often we admire people who seem lucky. They get the job. They land the opportunity. They build the business. From the outside, it looks like magic. But luck isn't random. Luck hides inside your habits, like the bamboo plant, which grows underground for years before shooting skyward. Your daily actions build invisible roots. And one day, when your breakthrough arrives, others will say, "Wow, you're so lucky." But you'll know, it wasn't luck. It was the small, quiet votes you cast every single day. In the end, the secret isn't in chasing goals. It's in falling in love with the process. It's in becoming the kind of person who naturally lives the habits you want. Because when you do, success is no longer something you chase. It becomes who you are.